It's time now for today's edition of Humboldt's Candidates in Their Own Words. Today, I'm speaking with Humboldt's City Council at-large candidate, Joe Hadar. And pleased to be joined now by City Council at-large candidate, Joe Hadar. Joe, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
All right, first of all, what made you decide to throw your hat in the ring for City Councilman?
I guess the biggest thing was that I got asked, and I got to thinking about it, and I talked to a lot of people about the possibility of running, and it kind of came down to, I think, if you're asked, there's a certain responsibility in a democracy to, be involved. And so, since this is the first time I've been asked to be a candidate, I thought, well, I'll try.
If you are elected, what do you want to accomplish as part of the City Council?
I think the biggest thing is to be responsible to the voters. That's the first thing, and that was something that I always felt pretty strongly about, was if we're spending the people's money, then we have to remember that we're spending the people's money, and we have to act in accordance. And I think you have to be very conservative when you're talking about spending the money of the taxpayer. So that's probably the first thing that I'm looking at. Another thing is that I want to have open discussion on all of the issues that we've got. I think a good example that I see right now is the discussions with the new middle school, where right now they're in the design phase. They're just talking about getting things going. Nothing is set in concrete yet. I don't even think they've hired a designer, and they're getting the word out about it, and they're getting the community's feedback on it. And I like that, and that's something that I hope the city does more of. I get back to the responsibility to run for office. I think the open communication and cooperation, that was one thing that I want to see more of based on my experiences that I've had in government and in other institutions. Is I want to make sure that if we're spending money, we've got the priority straight as far as what the school is doing, what other local government agencies are doing, what the state is doing, even at the federal level. I think that it's important that the local government communicates with all the various agencies so that we don't have 2 or 3 major projects on top of each other, because it has to be paid for, and that's really a key issue. Other things why I'm running for office, I guess the biggest thing is, and you're similar to me, you've just moved here. I mean, why do you move to a small town? I think one of the reasons we moved to Humboldt moved back, I'm from Humboldt, why we moved back in 1993 was the suburb in St. Louis where we were living was starting to install metal detectors at the grade schools. And we thought, well, this is where kids are going to be going to school. And so when you get to that age, small towns start to look much more attractive. And, small towns traditionally are very convenient places to live. We laugh about how living in St. Louis, it used to take us an hour just to drive to the grocery store, and now, you do it all in 15 minutes. Simple things like that, and the quality of education. And, I'm glad to see that, there are changes being made, that I think that we're getting much more funding in small towns for education. And, we've always had good education here in Humboldt, and that's, all of those things, those are reasons to run and to try to keep all of that going in Humboldt.
What have you seen in the current city council that you like, and what have you seen from the current city council that maybe you'd like to see done differently?
I guess the things that I've seen that I like are the recent things that they've been doing as far as asking for people's opinions, and that's the biggest thing is getting the public's views on what's happening, and being out there and talking to the community, and that's something that I will try to continue to do. I guess what I don't like, that's hard to say. The biggest thing is I want to make sure that if I'm on the city council, when we're in city council meetings, all of our meetings are open, and we make sure that we're making our decisions so that the public knows. The public is there, is able to be there, and we're able to do all of that. That's probably the biggest thing that I want to see, is to make sure that the decisions that are being made in an open forum.
This is your first campaign. What's it been like campaigning for city council?
So far, it hasn't been a huge campaign. There are three of us running for two positions. It's good to be able to get on the radio and discuss some of this. I've talked to a lot of people locally. There seems to be a fair amount of support for the views that I've got. And I hope that people realize I'm going to try to get in and serve the community. It's fun. It's something that is pretty low key, I think, in Humboldt. So far, there just hasn't been a lot of activity. So we'll see how it goes in November, and I'll try to get a little more out there and talk to people and get more opinions. Which is, I guess when I was going around getting signatures for the candidacy for my petition, I was able to talk to people, and people come up to you and they say, well, if I sign this petition, I want this issue addressed. And it's funny, the small things that people want to have addressed, that it's as simple as asking the question and going in. And I've already got several issues that if I get elected, I'm going to go in and ask the questions about why are we doing these things. It seems like it would be logical to make some excuse me, make some changes or address these issues for people. And so that's another reason to run, is educating myself. It'll be interesting for me, and that's one thing I'm real interested in, how the local government works, having briefly been involved before, and I want to keep after that.
Candidate for City Council at Large, Joe Hadar, thank you for joining.